Yeah, you can start recording when I start doing the presentation and not recording right now.
Okay, yeah, sure.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. Thank you all for attending this premise wide rounds. And today I'm going to present our next 5-year strategic plan. And before I do that, I will do this just a second, to the line acknowledgement. So we acknowledge with gratitude that we live and work on the traditional, ancestral, and unceded territories of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tahlil-Waldos nations.
Gao, I don't think you're sharing your screen yet.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Thanks.
Yeah, is that okay now?
Yeah, just put it in presentation mode and it should be good.
Okay.
Yeah, looks good.
Thank you. I've done the line acknowledgement. So before I do the presentation, I would like to acknowledge the contributions from the steering committee members that include Dr. Julia Irving, who is Associate Department Head at the Island Health, Dr. Craig Aveny, the CEO of the PLMS, and Dr. Helen Cote is Vice Chair of Scientific Education. Michelle Wang is the Assistant Dean of Undergraduate Education at Fraser Health and also Associate Department Head of our department. Dr. Martin is our Chief Resident on the AP program. Dr. Hansman, our Senior Distinguished Scientist. Dr. Calderon, Head of Pathology at Children's Hospital and leader of the DEI of the department. Dr. Nemo, Vice Chair of Clinical Education. Dr. Su, actually, Eva is the BLMC student, and Dennis is represent the Faculty Advancement Office for fundraising. Linda Yang is the Director of Finance, who help us managing our finance in the department. Rahman is distinguished young scientist of the department, and Julie is a PhD student, and Malwish is a postdoc student, and Jennifer is an MD PhD student. You can see that we have wide representation across all different stakeholders of the departments, and I want to thank all of them for their time, their insightful input, and their dedication and hard work in creating this strategic plan for our department. So my presentation today, including the following sections: the context, the process, our vision, mission, values, 5-year goals and strategy, and year 1 action plan, and the implementation cycle, and the accountability. So I'll start with the first one, the context. So as you all know, that pathology practice has been changing very rapidly in the last decade. For example, next generation sequencing or target sequencing or whole exome sequencing of common tumors has become a routine practice in most pathology centers. Many tumors are now classified based on their molecular genetic profile, and many new molecular markers has become available for targeted therapy. And secondly, whole slide imaging and digital pathology has been adopted across a range of contexts, from education, research, to limited clinical use in frozen section and consultation, to full application in routine sign-out of surgical cases. And COVID-19 pandemic has further cascaded the implementation of digital pathology due to its convenience of remote sign-out and communication. Completely supervised partially supervised and even unsupervised artificial intelligence technology has started to find its way on pathology diagnosis. On the education front, in the graduate and undergraduate education, there is a pressing need to constantly update our curriculum to include new knowledge and skills such as single-cell sequencing, bioinformatics, multi-omics, artificial intelligence, and computational modeling, etc. And on the postgraduate education front, problem-based undergraduate education has reduced undergraduate students' exposure to pathology and laboratory medicine. It makes it even more challenging for us to recruit the best students in our discipline. And at the same time, the Royal College has successfully implemented the competency by design training model, which requires a lot more closer supervision and more frequent evaluation. On the research front, there is increasingly focused emphasis on large cross-disciplinary team research with patients' direct involvement and much more emphasis on the clinical relevance of our research projects. The equity, diversity, and inclusiveness principle has been adopted and repeatedly emphasized in almost all the processes that we're doing, including recruitment, support, engaging and promoting our faculties, clinical faculty, research scientists, teachers, learners, and supporting staff members. So this becomes our guiding principle for almost all of our activities in the department. Internal level, as of today, that our department is ranked number 25 in the world and number 21 in North America and the second in Canada. It's excellent ranking in terms of our international reputation. On the research front, and we are actually proud to say the Department of Pathology and Laboratory Medicine occupies a unique space in the Faculty of Medicine and UBC. We have 6 fellows of Royal Society of Canada, 5 fellows of Canadian Academy of Health Sciences, and 6 Canadian research chairs. Here I emphasize, I just did a Google search this morning, and how many new and renewed chairs in entire UBC? 22 today. Now we have 6. So the brightest and most talented and most successful scientists at UBC actually are in our department. So we, every time when I, competing for the Distinguished Achievement Awards or every other things, we basically dominant discussions in all the departments and schools. So, our research scientists are involved in more than 100 global research initiatives. So we have $33 million of grants in the year 2022. And in the year 2022, the department jointly published 814 peer-reviewed scientific articles. And another thing I want to emphasize, our promotion metrics is probably the most difficult one in the entire Faculty of Medicine because the bar are very high in the department. And secondly, we have probably one of the largest educational enterprise in terms of pathology and laboratory medicine worldwide. We have 69 graduate students, 33 residents, 35 BMC students, 2 certificate programs, and our David Hardwick Pathology Learning Center hosts more than 100 visits every year. We have 2 fellowship programs. We have lots of CME activities. Our clinicians, we have more than 300 clinicians in the department providing service to more than 5.5 million people across the province. And in addition, we receive a lot of consults outside the province as well. So this is actually a matrix of the department. We have 137 students, 141 support staff, 134 academic faculty, and 314 clinical faculty in the department. Now, many of you probably heard about listened about my first 100 days presentation. Actually, the strategic planning process occurred soon after that presentation that we initiated the process. And the process takes very long and with many people involved. So here is the outline of the processes of developing this strategic plan. That in May and June, we review the background information, recruit the steering committee member, and hold out the kickoff meeting. In June to December, we conducted external internal stakeholder interviews, hold a second steering committee meeting, conducted a survey and share the results at our rounds, and hold a third steering committee meeting. In December to April this year, and we charted 5 lead groups and discussed the refined strategic priorities in 5 different directions. And I will emphasize them later. And created reports as a per reading and hold the 4th in-person meeting, half-day meeting of steering committee members. Now we are at this stage to finalize the strategic plan and so reviewed with the executive committee and the dean. And we basically disseminated today to all of you and started our implementation process. So now, for the first time, we have developed and clarified our departmental vision, mission, and our values. So what is our vision? So our vision is collectively transform laboratory medicine and our understanding of diseases for better health. So this is completely in line with the fact of medicine's vision, which is transform health for everyone. So our mission statement is, we are an inclusive department of pathology and laboratory medicine, where cutting-edge discoveries are made, future leaders in medicine are trained, and patients receive the highest quality of care. So these are our values. So these values are actually guiding our actions and implementation of the strategy. First, we want to be an international department, global relevance. So we look up to the best of the world, Harvard, Johns Hopkins. If you go to the website of Johns Hopkins, in the first sentence they say, we are an international department or a global department. So that's what we want to be. We want to reach out beyond our BC roots to be a globally relevant exemplar of pathology and laboratory medicine in research, teaching, and clinical practice. And of course, our commitment to the local society is critically important. We have to demonstrate responsibility, obligation, and accountability to the local society and society at large. We collectively act on integrity and behaving honestly, ethically, and truthfully. And we value collegiality, which means being respectful, compassionate, and listening as partners and leaders. We value curiosity and innovation, driven by the desire to learn, to explore, and to create. We use equity, diversity, and inclusiveness as our guiding principles to enable full and fair participation for all people, regardless of our background, identity, and ability. So for the first time, we have clarified our mission, vision, and values. Thanks to everybody who participated in developing this. So Then what is our 5-year strategy and goals? So collectively, we have developed 4 goals. Basically, we call it 4 pillars. The pillar 1 is research, and in that, we want to create, translate, and implement knowledge across the research continuum that promotes improved individual and population health. The second pillar is education. We want to educate, develop, and mentor future and current practitioners, researchers, and educators to meet evolving society needs. The third is collaboration. We want to advance alignment across systems to shape practices and the policies that improve academic effectiveness and health outcomes. The last one is organization. We want to foster respectful and inclusive environment in which everyone is supported to achieve their highest potential. Now, I apologize for the small letters. I was not intended to present details of each strategy because each strategy will be presented to you by leaders of each pillar. But I just want to give an example that under each pillar, we have developed strategic plans and how to accomplish those goals identified in the previous slide. So what is our year 1 action plan? And there are action plans of each pillar, which will be communicated to you by the leaders of each pillar. So this list of 7 action plans are from the departmental wide. The first is about the B11C program. We want to enhance the program and by conducting a program review and curriculum update. Basically, we want to update the curriculum to include new advanced technologies that is on the market. And secondly, we want to recruit an associate professor, teaching faculty to be a new director of the program and to fill in the big shows that Amanda has left, because Amanda has done a fantastic, excellent job in the past decade. With big shows to fill. And then we want to introduce a co-op program. And secondly, we want to address human resource needs in the clinical laboratories by addressing 2 things that we want to do. First is this pathology assistant program. The second is clinical fellowship program. By the clinical fellowship, we mean clinical fellowship for PhDs. So we first want to do a need assessment survey to make sure that there's a need in the province. And for the pathology assistant program, the survey was already completed and showed that definitely there is a need. Then we'll find funding and do a business case and seek approval. It will take quite a bit of time to make it happen, but this is in our plans. And number 3, we want to improve engagement with clinicians and by moving the department operations office to the Diamond building at VGH site. Number 4, which has close proximity to the Children's Hospital, St. Paul's, and the CDC and BC Cancer Research Institute and BC Cancer. So it's more a central location. And number 4, we want to create a teaching and research database and asset maps for the department. And number 5, and hold grant writing workshops with small mini grants that can give out real grants money in the department. And number 6, and recruit at least 1 young faculty members from underrepresented background, probably through the CHR Ready Early Career Transition Award, and support them to transition successfully into independent investigator over the next 2 years. And number 7, we want to establish an eminent speaker series as part of the province-wide rounds. So if you have a speaker that you think it would be good to give a talk in the province-wide rounds, please send an email to me and Sneha, and we'll make some arrangements. For external speakers, there's a small teaching stipend associated with it, so details can be discussed. So that was our year 1 action plan. So we want to accomplish 7 things in the first year, starting basically this week. So the implementation cycle, basically we launch our strategic plan this week, and then there will be an ongoing interaction between project leads, department heads, various stakeholders to gather the feedbacks and making fund adjustments as we go. And there will be regular faculty meetings to provide a place and space for updates and discussion about opportunities and issues, including new initiatives. So in August each year, the project leads will report to the executive committee on accomplishments and determine the priorities for the following year within our 36 months time frame identified within that context. And then by September each year, I will, and the project leads will report back to you on our accomplishments and also communicate to you our plans for the next year. So the accountability. So the department head is accountable for the implementation of the plan, formally and informally championing and providing support to enable progresses. So as chief spokesperson internally and with the Faculty of Medicine. The executive committee members provide general oversight and feedback to the overall implementation of the plan, determines deployment of resources, including funding against priorities, monitoring progresses against the targets, and suggest adjustment as necessary. Vice chairs, by the way, if you do not know who are the vice chairs, we have vice chair of research, Dr. Sharon Wellington, vice chair of clinical education, Dr. McNemo, and vice chair of scientific education of Dr. Helen Cote. They will provide oversight and guidance to the implementation of the strategy within each of their areas of responsibility in alignment with the intent of the overall plan. Associate academic heads, which located outside Vancouver and in each major hospitals, act as a two-way communication and information sources, providing important insights into clinical faculty achievements, interests, concerns, and issues. We have project leads responsible for achieving targets and deliverables. Each lead develop a more detailed work plan that is tabled with the executive committee and appropriate vice chair, outlining key deliverables, measures, timelines, and resource requests. In developing the plan, the lead is expected to identify synergies with other initiatives and seek out opportunities for collaboration. So the lead is expected to report progresses against the plan on a regular basis. Of Director of Administration, which is Ms. Genevieve Macmillan, and she's responsible for tracks progresses, identify issues and concerns, leads benchmarking and other data gathering initiatives, monitor funding, creates and disseminates updated reports, capturing successes, and communicates those to the department and other stakeholders. And for all of you and in the audience, your responsibilities are using concepts, direction, priorities set out in this plan to establish your own performance objectives and targets. So these are our accountability plan. And so in the, how much time I use? In the past 25 minutes, I basically went over the context, the process, our vision, mission, values, our 5-year goals and strategy, our year 1 plan, and how are we going to implement it, this plan, and the accountability. So now I'm happy to listen to your questions, comments, and suggestions. Please go ahead. Okay. So Diana has raised a question on this ranking criteria of global evaluation pathology departments. Yeah. So if you go to their website, they actually ranked about 14,000 departments worldwide. The criteria, if I remember correctly, are three. One is the research productivity and grant and those research part. The second is more of a reputation in terms of service. And the third is alumni. Alumni actually is critically important. For example, for a university, that if you have your graduates become a president of a country or won a Nobel Prize, then this will significantly improve our ranking. Hopefully, some of you will get a Nobel Prize in a few years. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you, Diana. Know the criteria allows us to improve our ranking. So all your efforts about doing the your camp rounds, presentations. This which is has a global audience is accomplished. That's actually helped us to improve our reputation. So the reputation of the department is one of the criteria. Yeah. So your campus lecture series was actually one of the exemplary activities that can help us to improve our reputation. Another thing we're trying to do is was my plan to invite a dozen of internationally renowned pathologists or scientists and ask them to become part of affiliated member of our department. So this can be in any country, India, China, Japan, and Europe, America. So if you see somebody that's really distinguished, that can help, is a valuable member to be a department, we'll invite them to be an affiliated member, to improve collaboration. We invite them to give a talk, interact with our trainees, and also, of course, increase our international impact. Because once they become a part of a member of our department, their accomplishments is our accomplishments. It's a bit sneaky, but that's my plan. Probably I should stop sharing and ask you so that they can see me. You can discuss. Yeah. Any other suggestions and thoughts? Questions?
I have a question, Gao.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
So I've been involved in a committee at the provincial level that's looking into trying to better basically or develop workload models for pathologists. Do you have any thoughts or experience with workload models for academic pathology workload?
Yeah, and in Canada, different universities have different work models. That I have the luxury of working with three universities. One is in Calgary, and one in McGill. One is here. In Calgary, Calgary's financial is pretty good while I was there. So they have developed like 25% protect time almost for everybody, and 50% protect time for a selected a population, which I was one of them, the 50% academic, 50% clinical. And there's like a 75% research, 25% clinical for a very selected population. So they have, so each department have, have a few people doing 75% research and 25% clinic. Some people doing 50 and 50, some people doing like 75 clinical. Nobody does 100% clinical. I still think that's probably ideal if you have the money. And McGill is completely different. McGill, clinicians have this, in pathology, you have this fee-for-service model, with everybody trying to make more money. But on the other hand, the province has the clinician scientist program. You have to apply. And if you got it, it covers 60% of your salary. And that 6% of the salary actually only asks you to use 50% of your time to the research. So they give you a little bit of buffer. So, but not everybody get that. It's called research per year program. What is that, so that was McGill. And here, and Mike Nemo, Dr. Mike Allard has, leading this whole process from the faculty point of view. Ideally, at least for academic centers, everybody should have some protected time because we're all involved in teaching. And if we're not doing research, at least we're teaching residents all the time. Some level of protected time is justifiable, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a challenging issue because I think a lot of times we're essentially employees of our health authority, but we obviously still have an academic appointment and a responsibility with that, but sometimes it's a little murky as to how much of your time is actually allocated for that purpose.
Well, yeah, good point. But if you look into the mission and vision statement, in the major teaching hospitals, and education and research is in part of their vision and mission. So they say this, but they don't fund it, and it doesn't make sense. So we can actually, if we can ask them, you said you wanted to support this, why don't you support it? Yeah.
Thanks, Gao. I think Lucy has a question in the chat.
Yeah. I think it would benefit to department the global visibility to take a harmonized approach in our faculty to build an international mechanism for graduate level training in the graduate in pathology and laboratory medicine. Yes, I totally agree. Thank you, Lucy. Yeah. This international visibility is something we should actually, this is something that I have a passion about it, because in order to increase our impact and ranking and reputation, we must have more international visibility, whatever we want to do. Yeah. Yeah, so the campus, yeah, is definitely like a good example. Have 19 countries people attending, and yeah, so the Diana's comments in the chat. Yeah, so this is a good example. It's not just the campus. We have several groups are running at national conferences and teaching. I believe the hematology group are running this lymphoma rounds nationwide. And yeah, so yes, at least nationwide, we have lots of national leaders, and international wise, we need a little bit of work to reach out to international audiences for sure. Yeah. And the quality program run by Lucy has an international profile. There's lots of how many countries, Lucy? There's quite a dozen countries attending this lab quality conferences.
Oh, for the conference?
Yeah.
That's a good question. I mean, we had 140 participants combined between in person and by Zoom. I can't recall off the top of my head how many countries joined, but it was a lot. I will also add that, our educational programs that are predominantly delivered online, through Canvas Catalog, also enables people to participate from all over the world, especially if they're designed to be asynchronous. All of our courses in the program office are designed to be online, and the lab quality management certificate has had over 550 graduates from 22 countries in its 20-year history. So that's another one. I was, if I might, I was just about to type a comment that at my previous department where I came from, they used to keep an interactive map on the department homepage that visitors could click on and you could see, okay, this person's working here, or there was a cohort from here. I wonder if there would be interest in, having something like that was a visual representation of our global kind of footprint and collaborations. Over.
Yeah, a very, very good suggestion. So website, Debbie did a fantastic job on the website. There's certainly more ideas and more works can be done there for sure. Yeah. By the way, Debbie did a fantastic job about this, a bulletin every other week. Now we have a bulletin, but now we only limit distributing this within our department and maybe across the faculty a little bit. But we should find a way to distribute all these accomplishments, all those good things you guys done, and a much broader audience, so that people. I remember that. When I was taking on my job at McGill, that somebody told me that Dr. Gao, so you say or we say we have a great department, that actually doesn't count. It has to be other people say you are a great department. So yeah, so our goal is to have other people on the national and international level to say, okay, UBC pathology laboratories is a great department. So that's our goal in terms of reputation-wise. Yeah. Any other comments? If not, actually, I have a plan to do another part of the presentation about the collaboration part of the strategic plan, because I am the designated team lead for the collaboration part. So I'll share my screen, and you can certainly make comments after I did this presentation. Now, can you see my screen now in the presentation mode?
Yes, Dr. Gao.
Okay, thank you. So before I start, I want to thank everybody in the collaboration team that for their input, their time and effort in making these documents and this plan ready. And also thank Dr. Hansman in running this discussion while I was away, and lots of inputs was put in place even without me there when I was away. So the strategic priorities identified on the collaboration team are four. The first one is collaborate with the clinical departments and other health system and government partners to support alignment and integration with the research, education, and clinical activities. So basically align our academic activities with the clinical activities in the health system. The second one is strengthen relationships across the Faculty of Medicine and UBC to enable cross-disciplinary education, research, and recruitment. This is about our relationship with other departments, other schools, and within the university and the Faculty of Medicine. And third is deeper relationships with the biomedical community, research centers, and industry partners, foster understanding of their skills, needs, and speed up the translation of research into practice. So this one is about our relation with the research centers and industry partners. And the last one is expand our international connections to extend the impact of our department of research, clinical and educational activities. We discussed a bit about these international connections already. So basically, our four, with clinical, with other departments, with the biomedical sector and research centers, and with international communities. Then we have now we got down to more details because now I'm presenting this plan as a team lead. On the clinical collaborations part, these are the things we plan to do. So number one is provide thought leadership, working with the PLMS, clinical departments, and health authorities to translate future diagnostic opportunities and community needs into critical questions that stimulate our research, leading to policy and practice change. Specifically, highlighting innovations in the research domain that could transform care once approved and implemented, publishing white papers on a regular basis to enhance the department's reputation and influence on the clinical side. Number two, contribute to the advancement of provincial priorities. There are a list of them, like a point of care testing related to ministry priority to connect unattached residents and traditional marginalized populations using technologies such as the drone and delivering blood products, those kind of things. And lab quality management and leadership, cancer screening via the BC Cancer Partnership, advancing genomics in clinical setting, innovation in public health screening and disease prevention, blood product management, partnership with community labs and community-based lab services. And number three, strengthen academic and clinical linkages. So the department is moving resources physically to more proximity to the clinical faculty. The department providing support to the clinical departments for recruitment of academic physicians, explained here. Now, basically all the clinical department recruit people without involvement the university department. But after people are recruited, they request a university appointment most of the time. Now in the future, maybe the department can be more proactively involved in the recruitment, in the selection of people that has academic potential, or even seek more rules of collaboration or in the supports that before the people even recruited here. So PMS and department continue to seek out bridging opportunities across labs and across health authorities. And the PLMs and the department profiling the clinical successes and fostering the adoption of applied clinical and quality research findings. So these are the plans for collaboration with the clinical departments and the health systems and governments. In terms of collaboration with the Faculty of Medicine and the UBC, we want to do, number one is encouraging membership in cross-disciplinary research teams to engage more activity with the other clinical departments, recruiting jointly with other departments to maximize the return on filling scarce opening positions, including subject expertise such as AI, statistics, genome, and reducing the current gender gaps as well as gaps in historically underrepresented groups. Basically, we want to join the recruitment with other departments. And number three is funding cross-department scholarship opportunities with co-supervision. So such as graduate students or students can be supervised by two department members, and accessing UBC and Faculty of Medicine resources with respect to indigenous health and indigenous culture, safety, and awareness for internal training. And this summer program run by Chloe is a great example of that initiative. These are the initiatives we want to do with the UBC and other departments. And in terms of collaborate with the industry and the research centers, we want to hold social and learning events to build relationships and trust, such as the current drinks event run by Dr. David Granville called the Discussion Related to Inspiring New Knowledge in Science events, holding a workshop series, linking an event to a professional advancement learning series, lecture series for postdoctoral fellows, and organizing events with rotating tables of scientists, trainees, and industry partners. Facilitate connections by making the department more visible and by creating an asset map of the departments including the research interests and mechanisms, and introducing an open chat line, which mentioned by in previous discussion, identifying a contact point or navigator to enable speed access to the appropriate resources of our department. So developing a formal business relationships with industries, explore partnerships to develop and commercialize our new developed ISIS or tests, negotiating contracts with industry, making a significant contribution to the overhead, providing access to specimens in biobanks, and offer an incubator space for new discoveries. So these are our plans for improving our relationship with the industry and biosector. In terms of improving our relationship with the international level, we offer, I mentioned it before, we offer associate or adjunct professorship to distinguished pathologists and scientists worldwide. And this could include lecture series by renowned pathologists, annual research prize offered in conjunction with visiting professorship by renowned clinician scientists, mobilizing an internal and international special interest support group, and showcasing their work in an annual basis in a dedicated segment of departmental newsletter, and fostering and supporting collaboration on international initiatives in developing countries where there's a need, such as lab quality, diagnostics, AI, digital pathology, etc. Exploring international clinical and educational opportunities that can promote impact and reputation, as well as generate revenue, and not doing everything for free, of course. Opportunities might include offering a funded remote teaching to a developing country, such as a resident country curriculum, quality curriculum, all those kind of activities, because we have matured teaching curriculum, and which was much far advanced. So actually, I have people approach me for providing a residence training curriculum to Africa countries already. So then how do we measure our success? So we want to measure our success by see how significantly the collaborations are advancing the strategic interests of departments, whether the interactions or collaborations are grounded in respect, reciprocity, relevance, responsibility, and follow the EDI and indigenous reconciliation principles, and measure our strengths, whether we have strengthened our relationship with all the clinical departments, the ways and extent to which a partnership with the PLMS is influencing policies and practices, our practices, and the success of joint recruitment initiatives, the number and skills of opportunities of the departments invited to join initiated either in the Faculty of Medicine initiatives or elsewhere in the UBC, the number of strategic partnerships with the biosector and the value created, the number of strategic partnerships with the international sector and the value created, the perception of the key stakeholders of the department is a strong partner and collaborator, basically our reputation. And I will add actually our reputation externally, in terms in the community, in terms of international and society. So that's the end of my presentation on this collaboration team, which I'm the designated leader of the team. So maybe I'll stop here and stop share and let you guys ask some questions and make some comments. Please go ahead. Any comments? So we want to make ourselves known, because pathology tends to be doing our job and nobody knows what we do, and our contributions to patient care was not well recognized on the international or national level. Yeah. So the question Diane is, do we have a PR department? No, we don't. Maybe it's a good idea. Right now, our communications is primarily Debbie does all these newsletters, all these websites and everything. But she is extremely overloaded, overworked. Since I come here, she started this every other week of bulletin. Actually these matured documents of strategic plan, all these pictures and diagrams were done by Debbie, and she did a fantastic job. all these are added responsibilities since I come. We probably should have some more people involved in the PR. Thank you, Diana. That's a very good thought. I'll give some thought. If you have some ideas of doing this, let me know. So for any mass media interactions, do we need permission from the department? I assume who gives us the permission? My past experience is when at my capacity, the dean at McGill always told me, not just me, to everybody in department heads, when you go outside, you speak, you are on behalf of yourself. If you want on behalf of the department, whatever you say has to be approved. And the same thing, if we want to say on behalf of the university, has to be approved. Anything I say outside on behalf of the university, I have to be approved by the dean, because you do not know what's the impact, and we want to be careful. Do not want reputation is great, but if we do something not and very carefully thoughtful, we can have a negative reputation, which is not great. So careful communication is another thing I want to say. Do we have any resources to conduct health economics analysis specific to emerging lab tests? We have expert in health economic analysis, but I'm not aware about specific to emerging lab tests, which are actually very, very good points. Emerging lab tests and emerging needs as well. Good points. I want to make sure all this, Sneha, I want to make sure all these discussion and suggestions are documented, incorporated, because we may utilize this for framing our work in the future. So the next question from is, how will the department support clinical faculty members outside the big centers in international collaboration? So we do not provide financial support, but we can certainly help to establish connections. And for example, if you want to invite somebody, we can provide invite letters or facilities the processes and establish identify collaborators and promote interactions with our scientists, our educators, and our students. But lots of things we can do, but not financially at this moment. So do we already have, or shall we look into formalize established relations with specific personnel in development offices for funding, philosophical support of both UBC, BGH, UBC hospital foundations? This can be for education and research purpose. Yes. But more work needs to be done. Right now, we are very heavily engaged with the Faculty of Medicine Development Office. We have to do more work with foundations, hospital foundations, which the clinical departments tend to have more access to the hospital foundations, but we have to do more work on there for sure. Thank you. So Diana, I'm a spokesperson for the College of American Pathologists, and I went through a 1-week training. We can provide training and have spokesperson. Certainly, yes. And because how do you talk, how do you say things is actually very important, and to be diplomatically right. Thank you, Diana, for offering that. And Chris Dido, regarding the emerging lab test in lymphoma pathology, we're collaborating with Dean Regier. Actually, that's the person I'm mentioning. Dean is a leader on the health economics, and actually I have him on one of my research grant. Is Dean one of our department member? I'm not looking even now. We probably should get him as our associate member. Already done. And this maybe I can email to Dean to get him to be an associate member of our department, so that we get him to do more work for us. So Lonnie said, was there anything in the plan in regards to forming better relationships, connection with our own BC pathology outside Vancouver, in other health authorities and the rural communities? Thank you, Lonnie. this has been done, and probably no more work needs to be done. But we have improved the relationship because now we have associated academic department head in each health authority, which I appointed since I come here, and actually they are part of the team in developing the strategic plan. And yeah, so we have Julia Irving from Interior Health and Michelle Wang from Fraser Health. Yeah, so we have, yeah, we have done that. Yeah, thank you. I'll check with Dean whether he wants to be an associate member of the department. Thank you, Chris.
Yeah, I like the idea.
Yeah. So there will be a series of presentations of a strategic plan because we have 5 leader groups, and we have planned for 3 presentations, and now I did 2 presentations now, and the next one I believe is Cheryl on a research strategy, and then will be the educational strategy by Mike and Helen. So yeah, so stay tuned. There's a lots of plans and lots of activities happening, and we're going to be extremely busy in the next 5 years. Yeah. Thank you, Cheryl. Again, I want to say that this plan is a joint effort of many people. I personally met 108 people when they're doing my 100 days presentation, and there's another round of consultation by Jen, and then we send a survey, we send many meetings of group meetings, and steering committee meetings. So lots of efforts by the team, and I just cannot see enough how grateful I have. I felt like I'm extremely lucky and privileged to have so many dedicated and extremely talented colleagues and working together. So there's no reason that we cannot be a better and greater department. Okay. Thank you, Corey. Yeah. Corey is a great leader for both pathology and radiology, and one exemplary, great leader. Yeah. Yeah, thank you, Philip. And Philip has contributed on the research plan tremendously. One more minute. Any other last minute questions? Oh yes. Yeah, thank you, Jennifer, for mentioning that. Debbie, Genevieve, and Sneha, and all the supporting team has done a lot of work, background work, and behind the scenes, and making it happen. I will thank them as well. Yeah. Thank you all. Okay, thank you all. We are at of the hour, and look forward to the next presentation. Thank you, Greg. Thank you, all of you. Yeah. And okay, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Gao.
Thank you. So we can stop recording now. Thank you.